And welcome back. Here's your latest California housing market update. Based on my own analysis here, home sales in California have decreased in 86% of all counties here in the state. I'll also share in today's video regarding some trends regarding inventory levels and also home prices as well. This again is thanks to the California Association of Realtors. They just posted this a couple of days ago. Let's go ahead and dive right in here. So here's a slideshow I want to share, and here's a general overview about what we're seeing right now in California. I made a separate video regarding this, and I'll leave a link in the video description below regarding that. So overall, in the state, home sales decreased by 19.7% from June of 2022, which is this right here. Also, the median sold price decreased by 2.4%. It's at $838,000 overall for single family houses in the state. Meanwhile, the month supply is at 2.2 months and days in the market is at 15 days. So let's talk about each of the 7 major regions that the California Association of Realtors tracks here. In SoCal, home sales decreased by 19.4%, roughly on par with the statewide average of 19.7%. Also, home prices decreased by 1.8%. Again, statewide, they fell by 2.4%. So SoCal, the month supply and also days in the market is roughly on par with the statewide average. Also, on average, houses that sold this June sold for the seller's asking price. That's a sale price to final list price ratio at 100%. Also, in the Central Coast, this is the only region in which home prices are actually up compared to just 12 months ago, a small gain of 0.5%. But home sales, just like these other areas as well, falling big time as well, down nearly 19%. The month supply, days in the market, and also the sale price to list price ratio is on par with the statewide averages here. In the Central Valley, where I live and work as a real estate agent here in Sacramento, home sales fell more than the statewide average, down by nearly 23%. And home sold prices decreased by 4% from June of 2022. But these other metrics here below is on par with the statewide average. And by the way, stay tuned toward the end of this video because I'm going to share the cities, or the counties, I should say, in which home prices have increased the most, and also the counties in which home prices have decreased the most as well, based on 51 counties that the California Association of Realtors tracks here. So that's Central Valley. Let's have a look at the Bay Area because home sales decreased by 19.2%. Look at this, the median sold price, $1.3 million to buy a median price home in the San Francisco Bay Area this June, and that's down by 2.7%. Something different about the Bay Area compared to other parts of the state is that the unsold inventory index, or the month supply, as well as days in the market, tends to be a little bit lower than averages here because days in the market is at 13 days. The month supply is very, very low at 1.6 months, and houses on average are selling for about 3% over the seller's final list price. And lastly, the far north saw a fairly big decrease of home sales, down by 26%. Also a decrease of nearly 3% for the median sold price as well. Also, these metrics tend to be a little bit softer compared to other areas as well. The month supply is at 3.8 months, days in the market at 17 days, and also the ratio is at 98.9%, meaning on average, houses that sold this June sold for about 1% below the seller's final list price. Okay, let's talk a little bit more regarding home sales, and then we'll talk about home prices after that. So home sales for the state as a whole, again, down by 19.7% year over year, also decreased compared to June of 2022. But as you can see right here, the fallout in home sales starting really in the summer months last year has been quite remarkable. And also the current sales pace right now, when looking at pre-pandemic levels, is roughly on par with the lowest levels going back to 2008, which is absolutely insane. Here's also a look at home sales by region as well. Something interesting here is that in Southern California, For all home sales this June, 45% of those came from SoCal. That's basically the combination of the Central Valley at 22% and also the Bay Area at 21%. In contrast, the Central Coast only makes up 4% of all closed home sales, and the far north is only at 2%. They also share the percent of home sales by region on a year-over-year basis, as well as compared to May this year. Let's first focus on year-over-year changes here in blue. As you can see, each of these major regions here decreased by more than 15%. The biggest decrease was actually in the far north, falling by 26.1%. In contrast, there's only one county here, or one region here, in which home sales actually increased from May, and that was the Central Coast, an increase of 1.7%. Okay, let's talk about home prices in the state of California here, because again, the median sold price is at $838,000 for an existing single-family house this June. This is actually the highest levels since August last year. A fairly small increase though compared to last month, a gain of 0.3%. This is the change from May to June this year, a gain of 0.3%. Also, if you missed my previous video I posted last week, I stated here that the gain of 0.3% is roughly on par with historical averages going back to 2010. And again, if you guys missed that video, I'll leave a link in the video description below here. Now, here's something that I shared in my previous video here that is drastically unusual. So in looking at the changes on a year-over-year basis, this is June last year to June this year, it was a decrease by 2.3% in the median sold price. Based on my own analysis, this is much worse than historical averages going back to 2010. The June year-over-year change going back to 2010 is an increase of 9.6%, whereas this year it was a decrease of 2.3%. Here's also a snapshot of the number of houses that sold this June that sold for over the seller's asking price. So in Alameda County, for example, in the East Bay, just east of San Francisco, on average, about 77% of all closed home sales this June sold above the seller's final list price. Also in Sacramento County, Contra Costa County, San Francisco, and Santa Clara County, approximately 60 to 70% of all closed home sales this June sold above the seller's list price. Okay, let's talk a little bit more regarding active listings, which is another word of saying housing inventory, the number of houses for sale in the state of California, because for June, it was a decrease of 34% year over year. This is the biggest decrease going back to May of 2021, which of course is night and day difference compared to the giant surge we saw last year, starting in early 2022 through early 2023. This of course is a big problem if you want to see home prices decrease in California, because inventory levels are going down. And because of that is, I should say, the reason for that is this right here. New listings have been falling for 12 consecutive months now. Last month, they decreased by 29.4%. There was approximately 20,000 new listings this June. Compare that to June of 2019, there was over 30,000 new listings. And by my dumb math, that's a decrease of 34% compared to pre-pandemic levels. They also shared a snapshot regarding active listings by each of the regions as well. In the San Francisco Bay Area, active listings are down from last year's levels, going from about 6,100 houses for sale last year. Now there's only about 3,700. Also a big decrease in SoCal, going from 18,000 approximately to around 11,000. Also a fairly significant decrease in the Central Valley, whereas the Central Coast in the far north is roughly on par with last year's levels. Here's another way to look at this. Active listings here in gray, the Bay Area down by 39.5% in the number of houses for sale compared to June of 2022. Also in SoCal, down by 39.2%. The Central Valley down by 35.9%, whereas in the far north, only a decrease of 9.3%. This lack of housing supply has become a big issue statewide as well, and frankly across the United States as well. But the California Association of Realtors reported that housing supply, or active listings, has decreased in more than half of the state. As you can see in red here, most of the state or most of the counties here are down compared to just 12 months ago. In fact, the only counties in which they have more houses for sale this June compared to last June was in Mariposa, Napa, Siskiyou, Mendocino, Glen, Plumas, Sonoma, Humboldt, Del Norte, and Lake. Kind of hard to read sideways here. The biggest increase was in Mariposa, a gain of 28.3%. In contrast, in Alameda County, just east of San Francisco again, active listings decreased by 64.2%. Also, a huge decrease in Contra Costa County, also in the East Bay, down by about 60% as well. All right, changing gears slightly here, let's talk about the percent change of home prices month to month, as well as year over year, as well as home sales as well, for each of the 7 major regions and also each of the 51 counties as well. So as a snapshot or as a summary for you guys here, for home prices, the change compared to 1 year ago, according to the Realtors Association, 37 of the 51 counties they track here, 37 posted a decrease in the median sold price from a year ago. That's the smallest decrease so far this year, though. This also means that approximately 73% of all counties statewide are down compared to just 12 months ago. In contrast, 14 of the 51 counties tracked by CAR posted an annual increase in their median sold price. This is an improvement from the 8 in the previous month. So more counties this month are recording an increase in prices year over year compared to May this year. This could be a warning sign that housing affordability is actually getting worse. In regards to closed home sales, all but 7 of the 51 counties recorded annual sales decreases, with 24 counties dropping more than 20% year over year. Therefore, approximately 86% of the state's counties are down from June of 2022. So for each of these 7 major regions in California, only the Central Coast squeaked out a gain from 1 year ago, an increase of 0.5%. In fact, the biggest decrease was actually in the Central Valley, which fell by 4%. So that was year-over-year changes in home prices. Let's have a look at the percent change compared to May this year. The only regions that posted a decrease from 1 month ago was the Central Coast, the Central Valley, as well as in the Empire. Okay, let's talk a little bit more regarding the San Francisco Bay Area, because the second biggest decrease in home sold prices from 12 months ago was actually in San Francisco. The median sold price this June was just under 1.6 million. 1 year ago, it was 1.9 million. That's a decrease of 16.1%. We also had a fairly significant decrease in Napa, down by 11.2%, and a huge decrease of 5% from 1 month ago. In contrast, in Contra Costa County and also in Santa Clara, they actually posted gains in the San Francisco Bay Area. In regards to closed home sales, this is actually kind of interesting here. San Mateo, the only county here in the Bay Area in which home sales are up compared to just 12 months ago, a gain of 3.4%. In stark contrast, in Napa, they're down by nearly 39%. All right, let's have a look at SoCal, because in SoCal, every single one of these counties here are down year over year, except for San Diego. San Diego is more or less flat from 1 year ago at $950,000, but now it's at $958,000. In contrast, when looking at home prices from last month, the only decrease was actually in Riverside, a small decrease of 0.3% versus a 2.5% increase in San Diego. Okay, let's have a look at the Central Coast. Monterey, love visiting Monterey, but home prices have decreased by 6.7% year over year, and also a fairly significant decrease in home sales as well, down by 22.5%. But each of these counties here are down in home prices from June of 2022, especially in Santa Cruz, down by 9.5% there, going from $1.3 million to $1.2 million. In the Central Valley, we have Fresno up by 1%, Glenn County increasing by 10.8%, also in Merced, down by 2.3%. Let's have a look at Sacramento. So Sacramento at $530,000 right now, a little bit below May's figure at $535,000, but a fairly significant decrease from the $560,000 that we saw just 12 months ago. And that's a decrease of 5.4%. Also, home sales fell by nearly 30% there. Placer County, which is a little bit unusual county because that encompasses Roseville, Rockland, all the way until North Lake Tahoe, which is an entirely different market. But home prices have decreased by 7% year over year there. Meanwhile, in the far north, look at Siskiyou County, down by 25.8% year over year. That's the biggest yearly decrease in each of the 51 counties. One thing I want to mention, though, is that a lot of these counties in the far north tend to fluctuate quite a bit regarding home prices on a month-to-month basis here. So it could be that we saw a big property that sold 1 year ago, and that's really impacting this decrease of 25.8%. This does not mean if you own a house in Siskiyou County that your home price or your home value just went down by 26%. This is only based on closed home sales. Other counties worth mentioning here as well. Amador County up by 12.4%, whereas Calaveras County is down by 7.3%. Interesting to see here that Amador County is one of these few areas in which home sales are actually up year over year. El Dorado, another unusual county because that encompasses El Dorado Hills all the way until South Lake Tahoe. Prices down by 2%, but they saw a huge increase of 6% compared to 1 month ago. Del Norte tends to fluctuate quite a bit on a month-to-month basis, going from $315,000 to $410,000. What else do we have here? Yuba County, Yuba home sales down by nearly 34%, but down by 2.2% for the median sold price from June of 2022. So please leave a comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. Also consider subscribing as well. Hope you guys have an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.